Alright, take number 2. This is going to be a teardown of this little Robeson thing. This is the other version of it. I got 2 of them, as you can see. But this one has a better coast down than the other one. And I was gonna see if I could maybe get this one to run a little bit better. And I figured I'd do a video on how to tear down a little small desk fan and all that fun stuff. Because why not? So anyway, hopefully you stay up this time. This little fan, it runs and everything. Got a very out-of-balance blade, but it does run. The bearings have always been kind of stiff on it though, so, you know. First of all, we're going to unplug it, because despite what some people think, it's always safer to unplug things. I mean, yeah, granted you can work on stuff while it's plugged in, but I don't recommend it. Because I've been shocked numerous times, and it's not a good time. But yeah, there's the grill. Set that there. Little blade, which should just pop off pretty easily. Like that. Now this one, as you can see, has had some damage done at some point. Looks like it fell and cracked this. This thing's actually kind of dirty. So we're going to get the brush. And just kind of brush it off a little bit, right? Dirty enough to just wash it in the tub or whatever. Usually what I like to do is to wash it out with the water hose, but I do not have that because it's winter time and there's snow everywhere. Now the back cover should just pop off pretty easily with this one screw, actually 2 screws. Don't want to lose track of your screws because it's never fun when you lose them. Back motor cover. And this is a kind of typical C-frame motor. I've worked on this motor before in the past, but I've always had issues with it kind of not running right, I guess. That's the word I'm looking for. It always seems to kind of lock back up on itself, and I don't know why. You gotta take these little things off here, which is gonna make the fan head fall. Set that there. Sometimes it's a pain in the butt. Trying to do this all in frame, it doesn't go in really well. Usually I do this on the floor. It's a lot easier. Or on the workbench in the garage. But right now I kind of have to do this. And this one doesn't want to. Alright, now you're down to the basic components here. You got your base, which is really dusty. And you got your motor fan head assembly. And you got your very, very dirty base. Anyway, so the motor should just come unscrewed pretty easily. You don't want to lose any of these pieces. This part's always fun to put back together. I never enjoy it. Especially with these. Even though I really like these fans, they're a really cool design. The components that make it up, very odd. And there you have your little motor. Put that right there. This is just your basic little C-frame motor. Of course, very dirty for whatever reason. I don't want to spill root beer everywhere. Now I have oiled this motor in the past, a few times actually. Now this should just come apart pretty easily. Hold the back of a bolt. Don't lose your bolts and screws and stuff. Or do like I just did almost. You know, nobody said I was perfect at this. Like I said, nobody's perfect. Everybody has problems. Including me. But anyway, motor just comes apart like that. I'm going to set that to the side. Now this is your bearing and motor shaft. And usually it just comes, sometimes you'll have rust on here and this won't come off quite as easy, but this case it did. Sometimes you got your little plastic rings here that go back on here. Now, I'm going to pause the video and go get some paper towels and stuff to finish this little project again. Zoom in a little bit. Alright, everybody kind of has their own method of doing this. I do too. So, you know. But what I like to do with these is I like to clean it off some paper towel here. Get all that old gunk off. Don't lose your fiber washers, because if you do, you're in for a bad time. This side. Now you can, if I can find it, I think it's over here. Use some of this little bottle of alcohol, which I kind of forgot I had, and kind of pour it in your little lid. Not a lot. And give a Q-tip and put it in here. Clean out your bearings, like so. And then after you do this, you want to dry them out. And in this case, this is actually a trick I learned from somebody else. And it's actually worked on a few fans. This isn't generally what I usually do, but it's worked with a lot of these fans that I've had. I can't do this too. You can see all that nastiness right there. Isn't that lovely? And then kind of dry it off. Make sure you get all that gunk off there. You don't want to lose this. And if you're done with it, just kind of dump it back in here for the next time. And you kind of dry out the bearing with the paper towel, and it'll get the excess dirt and crap that's in there. Granted, this one isn't working quite as well. Just kind of spin it around, gets all the gunk out. This one didn't have a whole lot in it, but You never know until you get it cleaned out. I'll do the same with this one. Neither one really seemed that dirty. But after you get that done, what you want to do, oil the bearing. Now, these do have felt in them, which is kind of hard to get to. Oil around this little, around the bearing. And you can kind of see the felt in there. If you oil around that, it should help with the bearings and prolong the life of the motor. It's saturated. Really, really good. Same with this one. Any like overflow, you just wipe off. Oil this. And there you go. Now reassembling the motor itself isn't going to be too difficult. But first, I want to clean this base up a little bit. I use these, well, these are generic kind, but these alcohol wipes. They work really good for cleaning plastic parts. And they work in a bind when you can't do certain things, such as washing electrical components like the switch here and the cords and whatever else. And when you can't use, you know, a bathtub or water hose, etc., etc. Other than that, the base is pretty clean. So we'll clean up the plastic parts a little bit. They're a little dirty. They're not horrible, but as you can see, this got broke at some point. I don't know what happened there. Long before I got it. Now it's better to wash these off because it gets a lot more of the dirt off, but you know, with a blade, these come clean really easy with this. And I get all the dirt off. See the difference? You kind of want to dry it off. And voila. The other side really ain't too dirty. Mostly on the front for whatever reason. But I'll set that in here. Got the motor cover. Because a lot of crap on it for whatever reason. It won't come off. Looks like a lot of it's actually stained on you or something. This black crap will not come off. I'm not sure where I got this fan. I think it was one of those I got when I went to Peterson's place. This grill ain't that dirty, so it doesn't need a whole lot. But anyway, let's put this motor back together. So, you don't want to lose those little plastic rings, like I said earlier. Looks like they are still here. There should be two of them. I don't know where the other one went. I don't know. Hang on. See, this is why I don't generally record this stuff. Now you want to put the bearings back in. Usually starting with the back one is a good idea. Or whatever works. seems this one's kind of a pain. There we go. I'm gonna stick the thing back in. Or not, because the bearings are misaligned again. See, what the problem is with these cheap bearings like these is they don't like to go in the respective hole without a bunch of problems, it seems. I'll just do it this way. Stick that back on. And we're going to have the same problems with that. Bearings. These are not the best bearings, I'm not going to lie. Get your screws. This is probably why it runs like crap, to be honest. Not going to lie. And put the bolt back on. And screw it in. And everything slides because there's oil everywhere. Let me get the other one. Now, with this motor kind of having some warped bearing housings, it seems. You don't want to tighten it too much, because it could pose a risk of the housings cracking. Now this thing's locked up again. It's easily fixed. Seems to mostly work. But with the fan the way it is, which I hope I assembled it right, I think it goes like this. This is alright. Usually I like to put a little bit of oil on the outside too. On both sides. If the back doesn't have an open bearing, it's not really a problem. Clean up the dirt, extra oil, both sides here. It actually seems to spin. Alright, now the fun part. Reassembling. So, yeah, this is going to be interesting. Because I do not like reassembling these things. Let's see. This is where things are going to get kind of heavy. Actually, probably easier to do it this way. So, drop the motor in, like so. Maybe. I hope I got this right. I want to drop the screws in. And you get these little things into their little slat things here. There's slots that those go into. And there should be two of them. There's that one. This one is kind of iffy. You really want to go in there. Perhaps. Alright, there's that. Hopefully it's not backwards. If it is, I'm going to be a little upset. Let me make sure before we throw it all together. Okay, we're good. Okay, so yeah. At this point you can put the head back on the thing. The base, I should say. With the little, whatchamacallit thing going. There we go. So, this one going. This goes in this one right there. And this is going to be this one. Like that. These fans really ain't that hard to work on. They're pretty simple. It's not that difficult to work on these little fans like this. Seems like everything on it's warped though for whatever reason. So I don't know what the deal is with that. There's that. That works again. Throw the blade back on it. It seems a lot better than it was. Twist down the seams. Actually, a lot better than it was. Yeah, that works for me. Want to put the guard back on. There's a little screw down here that you can screw back on. There's freaking dirt on it for whatever reason. You hold a little bolt, tighten this little screw up. Like that. And booyah. Get yourself a running little thing. And I hope all that was in frame, because it probably wasn't. But anyway, gosh, that was 23 minutes. There you go. Little 6-inch desk fan revival, if you will. So thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. And that coast time really did improve. So, have a good one.